Hey Sasha.
Hey Steve, how are you doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good. Wrestling with Terraform.
Oh yeah, I know. It's Do you use
Hmm.
TerraGrunt then?
No, I'm using something called um
Open tofu.
no, I'm using Terramate.
I haven't tried that one.
Terram Terramate with Terraform. Um yeah, I'll put the link in the channel for you. But the biggest headache is I'm deploying GCP. I'm actually working on GCP now.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build a GCP role chaining um IAM infrastructure, so with GitHub. So GitHub is sets up a federation with OIDC,
Yeah.
and then the GitHub account. Then I have a GitHub account, which is like a very least privilege account that can assume roles, right?
Oh, you're doing the
Yeah.
whole roll thing? Yeah. That
But
could be a
maybe there's an
headache.
easier way. I don't know. Maybe there's an easier way.
Just be
We
super admin for everything.
I
uh,
That,
like
fit,
that.
that gets around a lot of issues.
Yeah, that can solve a lot of issues. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll put it in the channel. Yeah, Terramate. I'm using it to orchestrate Terraform because Terraform
okay.
doesn't give you much of a, I just find it doesn't give you much of a like direction on how to set up your architecture, your repo, right? And what's the best way around that? So you kind of figure it out yourself, right? And then you end up in the engineer world of like going down too many rabbit holes, and I'm just trying to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's the hardest part. And then I end up getting into a complete like mess in my mind, and I'm like, where was I now? And I don't know where I am. But what I like about Terramate is that it breaks down things into stacks so that you have these very small state files because that always ends up bloating,
Yep.
and then you end up with corruption, and then you end up in a very painful world of, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah,
Hmm.
I've been playing with Terraform these days. We have GCP and I was setting up. We have an account on Azure now, and we
Okay,
do
cool.
like the basic, at least kind of service account or basic infrastructure with Terraform, like playing Terraform.
Yeah,
For GitHub Actions, we use like the OIDC. We use like federated identity and so forth. But yeah,
exactly.
like you said, as you start, I was trying to get a little bit further up the stack and like do a managed Kubernetes cluster on the Azure side, but
Yeah,
then you're getting a lot of stuff in that state. And if you have multiple PRs, it gets really messy and it's, yeah.
exactly. It's like going down the baby super tube and then suddenly it turns into like an adult, like free fall drop, because you
Right.
get deep in the.
Okay, let me share the notes for today. Um, uh, I guess it's full
Hey guys,
past.
sorry I was tardy by 4 minutes.
Tracy.
Hi.
Hi, Tracy. Hi, Steve and Steve and Sasha. So thanks everyone for joining today. Yeah, it's full past, so let's get started. Um, as usual, the meeting is recorded. So for the recording, welcome everyone to the TOC meeting. Today is March the 26th. And I put the link to the notes on the yeah, in the chat. So feel free to sign yourself in if you'd like to. Right. We don't have many things on the agenda, but yeah, we have uh, time to maybe have some open conversation if folks have things they would like to bring. But first, let's go for the usual agenda. So we have looking for any update from any of the SIGs. So on the CI/CD cybersecurity, does anyone has any update to provide on that group? Any recent thing that was accomplished by the team?
I can give an update on that.
Thanks, Tracy.
So as any new group, everybody's trying to figure out what it is exactly we're trying to do. I think that we got through that in our last call. I keep, there's some folks on there that are into best practices. So they want to write best practices, and I keep pushing them back and saying, no, we're not doing that. We already have the secure software development framework. We're going to stick to that and identify the task that we should be doing in the CI/CD pipeline. That being said, I did refer a person over to Terry Cox, who said he would like to reinitiate the best practices SIG. So maybe some of those folks who showed up for the CI/CD cybersecurity SIG, if they want to go over best practices, they can do that. I also brought up to the group that we might want to add a link from the best practices website to the CI/CD cybersecurity SIG's website, so that we're cross-referencing each other. Again, the idea of the cybersecurity SIG is not to write any kind of best practices, but to refer to the existing ones, like the CISA framework and the NIST secure software development framework. And I think that the team now has got it. We have broken up the documentation. So I think we have a good structure for how this documentation should look. I can bring it up real quick just to show you where we're at and how we're breaking that documentation up.
Would you like to share your screen, Tracy?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen just for a second. Did that work? Yes. So now we have it broken down to each of these sections will have a reference to the framework we're addressing. And if we drive into there, we have the task assigned based on the framework's higher categories: protect the organization, the software, well-secured software, and respond to vulnerabilities. As you drive down into there, so for example, the one thing that we know for this section is this task, and that the in toto framework should be considered. Others have more. So protecting the software, this is the task, and here's the open source tools. And if we get in and drive into it farther, here's another task for well-secured software. Here are some of the tools. We are now going to start going through this as a team, and we will we'll literally address we'll take it from the top. We'll go to the framework. We will go into the area that we need to be addressing. We go down to the table, and we're going to start going through each one of these as a team and start working on if we believe there are tools that can be used to achieve the task, and then start assigning issues to update the documentation now that we've got it sort of broken out. The team in general had a concern about how the documentation might create too many merges. So that's why we went ahead and broke it out into all these subchapters. So I think we have a good strategy, we have a good structure, and we have a really great team. There are some really committed people in that team. And the ones who want to do best practices, I hope I have encouraged them to help Terry carry that torch. So that's where we're at. So we're making good progress.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Tracy. That looks really good. So did you discuss at all? I was wondering, once you have like the documentation more implemented, so is there any plan to kind of try and apply these to any of the projects, maybe a project at the CDF and see?
That would be great, wouldn't it, if we did that? Just to chat about that for a minute. Ortelius, what I would really love to do is to pull some of these other projects into Ortelius and at minimum start showing the score, the aggregated OpenSSF scorecard. I really think one of the first places that we really need to start with our projects is to encourage them all to have an OpenSSF scorecard. It isn't easy, but it's super worth it. I'm sort of surprised myself when I go into Ortelius, because Ortelius is managing Ortelius, and I look at all of the open source packages that we're bringing in that they don't have a scorecard value. So those packages are not trying to at all to comply with some of the OpenSSF tooling. And I really do think that all of the projects that we have should have a scorecard value. Ortelius, I think, has a 7.5, which is pretty high. There are still things that we're not scoring on, but it's pretty high. But I feel like, considering what we're facing right now, especially in the US, that we have to, the private sector is going to have to take on the cybersecurity effort pretty seriously. And the one thing that we all can do is OpenSSF scorecard.
Yeah, that sounds like a rather low hanging fruit. I mean, we have an OpenSSF scorecard set up, the testing for Tecton.
But it's not,
Already,
it would be great to be able to show it, right? There's not a good dashboard that shows all of these scores.
yes.
So it'd be great if we could bring in, make a connection to Tecton and start reporting on the dashboarding Tectons, Spinnakers, everybody's vulnerabilities, because we have the ability to do that right now.
So does Tecton do like a nightly build, or on when you do a PR merge, you do a build?
I'm trying to remember if it's on periodic, I think. Yes, something like that, probably. I don't think it's on PR. Yeah, I think it's a periodic build that we do for the OpenSSF scorecard.
Yeah, so we'll just need to add in a call to Ortelius to record what happened. So I don't know if that would end up being a Tecton task or what we would do on that front.
Yeah, but we would need like a CDF or Ortelius instance, right?
There's a public one out there already, a SaaS version.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that
Yeah, we
could
need.
be, in terms of getting it done, could be something that the Ortelius architecture team could work on. I think it'd be a good task for them. They just may need to have, since they don't know anything about Spinnaker or Tecton or Shipwright or Jenkins, they would probably need they might need to reach out to the communities to get it done.
Yeah.
And Tracy, I can confirm your statement. We are dealing with this in the private sector right now. Our customers have implemented their own scoring systems, and they're scanning open source and then applying scores and preventing lab entry if they have certain thresholds. And they're expecting us to then remediate those open source issues in order to deliver those products. So it's becoming a real problem very rapidly. And we have our own SSDF scoring, which doesn't match theirs. And then now we're working with 3PP vendors like GitLab and others who have their own scoring. And so they see something low and the customer sees it critical. And so we're having to bridge this gap right now as we speak. It's pretty awful.
And when you're talking about the scoring, you're talking about a particular vulnerability or just a compliance value?
A particular CVE.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're having to go CVE by CVE and provide detailed analysis on classifications and remediation or mitigation for things
That's
that we don't
interesting.
develop.
Yeah.
It's becoming a huge problem.
Yeah, that's interesting. It sounds like the discussion they're having about what's top secret and what's not top secret right now. Oh, if I wrote it on Signal, it's not top secret.
Yeah, geez.
Yeah, that's I didn't know that everybody was starting to create their own CVE scoring system. I thought they would just probably go with the standard.
Yeah, I don't know what tooling they use to do it or how they do it. I just know the scores are all different across the 3 vendors, and we're having a difficult time getting agreement on what the actual risk is as a result.
Well, that's an interesting conversation because we want to start creating pull requests for updating these things, but we want to drive it from what's deployed, right? Not necessarily what's being found in the general population of the repos, but a vulnerability that's actually running in your environment, so you know that that is something you need to address quickly. But we only want to do it on, critical and high risk. So now you're telling me that there could be different ways to score a critical or high risk.
And a different definition of what exploitable means as well. Some customers, it has to be removed from the binary.
Yeah, there's just so much.
Even if it's not running in production. So.
I think part of the problem is there's just so much noise that, it's like when I was a developer, I would always turn my compiler warnings down.
Right.
Because it'd be like, I want to fix all those memory problems. They'd come up and it'd be huge. I know Steve didn't. He'd always set it at the highest level, and it'd be like, how do you do that? So it's just the noise. I think the noise creates so much, so many problems for folks, because you can't fix them all. But anyway, it would be great if we could start giving some directions to the projects that it would be good for them to start being compliant based on what the OpenSSF is doing, and at minimum do OpenSSF scorecard, because it's going to show a lot.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it would be good for any project representative to go
Andrea,
back to
if you're talking, we can't hear you unless it's just me.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just Tracy.
Oh, that's silly.
Oh. Any better now?
Nope, she can't hear you.
Something happened to me.
Can you hear everyone else? No.
Can you hear me, Tracy, or not?
I can hear you talking from over
other
there.
Yeah.
How about me, Tracy?
I can hear you from the other side of the wall.
Are you able to hear me? Your sound settings in Zoom probably changed.
Oh, something just happened.
There you go.
Now you're coming through my computer speaker, though.
Well, that'll work for a few more minutes.
Yes, it will.
Back to normal. Can you hear me, Tracy, now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
I'm all good.
Right. So thanks. Yeah, so I think if it'd be good to to try and drive this to the project. Make sure everyone get like OpenSSF scorecards implemented. That's certainly something that would be good. I mean, I'm happy to create a set of issues on the TOC repo that we can use to track for each repo. If what the status is. And then I was wondering, Steve, if you could provide maybe some details about the public utilities instance that you mentioned, and you know how to get integrated into that.
Yeah,
Right.
I can provide that. Just trying to think about the best way to get started on this.
Well, we'll just we can just put a blog together. It gives the directions and how to get there.
Sounds good.
Yep.
The other thing I was wondering, I mean, that there is a security dashboard on the LFX as part of the LFX services, so provided by the Linux Foundation. But I don't remember if they have anything about OpenSSF scorecards in there. Something I can check. If there is, it would be good to get that data there as well. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, great. Thanks for reporting from the cybersecurity group, Tracy. It's great to see, yeah, this work happening.
Yeah, I think it'll be a useful tool for DevOps engineers who are just being asked to add security tooling to the, beyond just an SBOM and try to meet those guidelines. And that's all we're trying to do. Keep it super simple. Here's the task. Here's what you have to do. And then we're going to try to map it to the CISA framework. And because I understand, there are some folks who have been working on mapping the secure software, the NIST and the CISA guidelines. So we're going to see if we can't incorporate some of that so that you can see it from both sides.
Sounds good. Okay, moving forward. Well, I guess we covered best practices already, and I don't think there will be any update from the MLOps. I was wondering if anyone had updates from what the Data Ops initiative has been up to. Yeah, I think that the Data Ops meeting is happening right now in parallel to this meeting because of the time zone, with the summer time changes. So daylight savings that is happening at different times in the US and in Europe. So I've not been able to get any update on that meeting. Well, if we don't have any update from anyone, we can move forward. I think in terms of project updates, we're still missing updates from Jenkins and Screwdriver. I think Moni says she should be able to provide updates on Screwdriver by the end of the month. So hopefully soon enough. And finally, a couple of updates from Roxanne. So we have the yearly awards, CDF awards, and some project awards running right now. So if you know someone that you feel is deserving of the award, please go ahead and nominate them. I think nominations are all like GitHub based. So just go on the corresponding GitHub and nominate people. And then there is an ambassador application that is open until the 2nd of April. So this is the blog post contributed by Garima. And yeah, so again, please help spread the word about the ambassador program. Any question, comments on ambassadors or anything else? Then otherwise, on anything you would like to discuss today? All righty. Well, then we can keep it shorter today. Thanks everyone for joining. For the great conversation and discussion, and see you next time. Have a great rest of your day and week.
Thank you.
everybody.
Hey,
Thank you.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.